for this.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Noah Burke. I'm with Wilson and Company. I'll be running this presentation part with my colleagues. Wilson and Company is a sub-consultant for the New Mexico Department of Transportation, and tonight's meeting will be the virtual public meeting for the New Mexico 313 Algodones Bridge Replacement Project. So the meeting platform tonight is going to be virtual, as you can see. It's going to be a Zoom meeting, and the Zoom webinars are, well, you only be able to see the presenters. You won't be able to see who's in the audience. So you'll just be as an attendee, and we'll all be on video. This meeting is being recorded, and we will be posting this in the next few days to the New Mexico Department of Transportation's YouTube channel. There should be a link on the website for that. And if you have any questions, you can always email me and I can send you that link as well. There'll be a question and answer session towards the end of the presentation. We'd ask you that you use the question and answer button, the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen to ask questions. And we'll have our panelists and presenters tonight answer those questions as they come up at the end of the presentation. We'll also be able to verbally share comments, so you can use the raise hand function, which is *9 on your mobile device if you're calling in, and we can unmute. And you can also do the raise hand at the end as well. So our presenters tonight, I'd like to introduce them. Munaf Alalusi is the Department of Transportation's Project Development Engineer. Jill Mosher is the Department of Transportation's District 3 Assistant District Engineer. Vince Dorsweiler is the Bridge Engineer, and Thomas Gaddis is the Drainage Engineer. And then there's Gwyneth Duncan, who's the District 3 Environmental Scientist. And with that, I'd like to hand over the presentation to our first presenter, which is going to be Munaf.
Thank you so much, Noah, for the introduction. Before I start with the presentation, I just would like to thank everyone for taking the time to join us in this public information meeting. And we appreciate your interest in the NMDOT projects involving the bridge replacement on New Mexico 313. And as mentioned earlier, this presentation is for the New Mexico 313 bridge replacement projects being done by the New Mexico Department of Transportation in collaborations with the Federal Highway Administrations. The topics covered for the presentation begin with number 1, brief background. Number 2, proposed design improvements. Number 3, bridge demolition and construction. Number 4, project schedule and next steps. Number 5, how-to comments. And right here, we will explain how to provide input during the 30 days comments period. And at the end of the presentation, and as Noah mentions, we will have questions and answers sessions to receive and answer your questions and feedback on these projects. Next slide, please. Brief background. In brief background, we will review information about project location, surrounding land, and existing timber bridge superstructure and substructure. Next slide. Project location. The project area is located within NMDOT right-of-way on San Felipe Pueblo land on New Mexico 313, between milepost 12.5 and milepost 13.5. NM 313 classified as a 2-lane asphalt and divided highway running north to south in Rio Grande Valley, and it has an annual daily traffic of 4,126 vehicles. The bridge itself is located at milepost 12.98, crossing Las Huertas Creek 4.7 miles north of US 550 and located in Sandoval County, New Mexico. The surrounding land is rural and relatively level, and there are no connections to other roadways at this location. Next slide. Background. The existing timber bridge number 7628, constructed in 1975, carries New Mexico 313 over Las Huertas Creek. The bridge was constructed with treated timber pier caps on timber piles with treated timber abutments. The superstructure of the bridge includes 3 simple spans and a laminated timber deck with an asphalt overlay. The structure length is 94.2 feet long. The current cross sections consist of approximately 2 12-foot wide driving lanes and 3-foot wide shoulders. Bridge deck has an asphalt overlay approximately 4 inches thick, and the posted speed limit is 30 miles per hour. The existing New Mexico 313 roadway, typical roadway section consists of approximately 2 12-foot wide driving lanes and 3 to 4 foot wide shoulders. The total approach roadway width, including shoulders, is approximately 30.2 foot wide. Next slide. Proposed design improvements. In proposed design improvement, we will go through the purpose and need, intent of this project, and propose improvements. Next slide. Purpose and need. The need for improvement in this project is based on the latest bridge inspection report from February 2020 that rated the condition of bridge number 7628 as a poor for the deck, poor for the superstructures, and fair for the substructure. Also, the existing bridge rail and end treatment doesn't meet current standards for heights and posts. Next slide, please. Proposed improvements. The project intent is to remove and replace the existing timber bridge on New Mexico 313 with a new 113-foot long and 51-foot wide bridge. The proposed new bridge transverse sections will consist of 2 12-foot wide driving lanes and 2 10-foot wide shoulders with open metal railing. Bridge substructure will consist of 1 concrete pier with Las Huertas Creek and 2 concrete abutments. Also, the proposed bridge elevations will be raised by 1.25 foot to meet the standards water surface elevation. Next slide, please. Proposed improvement. As presented on the previous slide, the new bridge will consist of 2 12-foot width driving lanes and 2 10-foot width shoulders, and that would provide increased access for pedestrians and cyclists. Also, 3 access gates, signage, and other improvements would be added to dirt roads on either side of the bridge crossing at the northwest, southwest, and southeast of the bridge to assist in curbing the public trespass into San Felipe land and to prevent and reduce illegal activity and illegal dumping along the arroyo. In bridge demolition and constructions, we will review bridge proposed demolition and construction plans, as well as proposed temporary traffic control plans during the construction period. Bridge demolition and construction would take place within 40 to 100 feet of the center of Las Huertas Creek in both directions along the roadway. This will be based on the final temporary traffic control and construction plans. Bridge demolition and construction would require either a full closure of New Mexico 313 or 1-lane traffic open with temporary signal systems during the duration of construction. And in the next slide, we will review those 2 temporary traffic control alternatives in more details. Next slide. So on the on the left side, we showing a plan view of the proposed full closure of New Mexico 313. And with the full closure, construction duration will be between 80 to 140 days. And this is NMDOT recommended temporary traffic control option for this project because full roadway closure would increase productivity, reduce project duration, increase safety, and shorten the risk period, and would have the potential for cost saving. On the right side, we're showing a plan view of 1-lane traffic, and with 1-lane traffic, construction duration will be between 120 to 210 days. This option will require a phased bridge construction and using of temporary signal system throughout the work zone, and considered more complicated and has safety issues with temporary signal system and longer construction period. Next slide, please. Schedule and next step. On the following slides, we will review project schedule, timeline, and next steps to complete the project design and let it for construction. In project schedule, we summarize project milestones starting from initial design to the end of design and start of constructions as follows. First on the schedule, we have initial engineering design development starting in spring 2022 and to be completed in summer 2022, which is considered a conceptual design for the projects. Then we have a public outreach meeting, which is today, June 30, 2022. Environmental analysis and documentations, that's to be done by fall 2022. A completion of engineering design to be done by fall 2022. Anticipated start of construction spring 2024. And this is to be determined by NMDOT District 3. Next slide, please. Next steps. For the next steps, we will have the followings. Gather public input after this meeting and during the 30 days comments period. Finalize design decision summary report. Coordinate with stakeholders to share projects information and discuss it with them. prepare preliminary 60% design plans, conduct environmental surveys, and prepare an environmental document, prepare right-of-way maps, finalize design plans, specification, and estimate. I think that was the last slide on the technical information. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So folks, it does appear that there's about 20 attendees in attendance today. So what we'd like to do at this point in time is we'd like to open up the question and answer. I'm sure a lot of folks have questions about this, and we'll do the best we can. The best way to do this is use that question and answer and type your question in. I do see that some people have utilized the chat. And so I would encourage everybody to go ahead and take a look at all of our panelists to take a look at the chat and to open up your question and answer box. And then we'd also encourage you, if you'd like to speak on this subject, what we'll do first is we'll go through and answer the question and answers that are typed in. And then what we'll do is, if there aren't, once we've complete those, we'll go ahead and ask anybody who's in attendance tonight, if you'd like to speak or ask questions live, we can unmute you. You won't have video capabilities, but you'll be able to ask your question. And we'd like to, keep the questions, probably under 2 minutes, if at best, or you can give comments, whatever you'd like to do. So, and it doesn't look like we have anybody who has dialed in. So if somebody had dialed in, they could press *9 to ask a question. So go ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I'm going to go ahead and put my contact information on here. So and I'll leave this up here during our question and answer session. So one of our first questions, how many people were in this meeting? So approximately there's 7 panelists and there's 20 attendees in the audience right now. The next question is, how did the New Mexico Department of Transportation determine that there are no other roads here? Does NMDOT intend on addressing the public and private access here? So I'll go ahead and let any of our panelists, if you'd like to go ahead and speak to that, that'd be great.
Yes, I can answer that question. So before we start with the project design, we got survey files and we did like a field inspections to the bridge and to the area around the bridge. And based on these, we found that there's no connection to any roadways there, recorded roadways on the bridge locations. There is like a private dirt road, which is the ford on the corner of the bridge. On those roads, it has been considered in our design, and we're gonna do like some improvement to those dirt roads, and those came from our discussions with San Felipe, and they requested to add some improvement there since they're having some issue with the illegal activities around these roads.
Great. Our next question is, what is the process to object to your plans, to the DOT plans for this bridge?
We have this meeting, and after this meeting, we're gonna have a 30 days comments period. So if there's any objections on any items or if you have any concerns on the project's design, please just send us your concerns, and we will discuss it. We'll discuss it with the design team, and probably we'll follow up with you on that, and just to address your concerns and your objection.
Hey, Manav, can you hear me? Or you go ahead, Jill.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. No, and just to add to that, we are soliciting the comments and the feedback from the public so that we can make sure that your concerns are addressed. But there is a real need for this project. This bridge has been on the list since about 2017 for replacement. It has been one of our top projects from the district, one of the worst rated bridges in the district. So there is a real need to replace this bridge. I mean, as Munaf kind of spoke on the ratings earlier, it's a poor rated bridge on superstructure and on substructure. The girders on it are damaged. They are bent. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the inspection report on my other screen, but we're monitoring bulging at the abutment, and we have one of the piles encased. So there is a need to replace that. Like I said, it's been since 2017 that we've been trying to find the funds and the way forward to replace this bridge, but we definitely want to hear comments so that we can address your concerns and see if there's a way to address everything and still get this structurally deficient, poor rated bridge replaced.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question is going to be, it's actually kind of a statement. I have access here. Are you telling me today that you are going to block my access and deny my property right?
Okay, so based on the conceptual design and the temporary traffic control plans, we're not gonna block any access. Our priority is to make sure that all the properties on that area is gonna have the access during the construction period, and we're working on that to make sure that we'll provide that access. The only things is gonna happen is the property north to the bridge, they have to use a detour to I-25 in order to drive to the south. And for the property to the south of the bridge, they have to go down to 550 in order to head up to the north. But again, all the properties on that area we're gonna provide the access to those property during the construction.
And it should be noted that all of the driveways as there currently are the intent after the bridge is built is to keep those in place. There's no closures. Yeah, I just want that to make sure, because there was some confusion earlier. So yeah, the bridge itself is not going to close down any of the roads in the final condition.
Okay. Thank you. So I think these are more statements rather than actual questions, the next few. And I think the first one is survey files are not legally binding. And then the second one, yes, private and public. And then the third comment, is your surveys may not be correct and are not legal documents. Your attorney should know this. And then I think there was a statement, what about my legal access? And then it's asking for your attorney's name and address. So I would encourage the person who typed this to send us an email requesting this information, and we will provide that information to you. So we can do that. We'll go ahead and move on to the next question. The next question says, why were no signs put up at each end of Algodones so that residents here would know about this meeting and about the bridge? It affects us the most, but I only got word of this by hearsay a short time ago. I will let Munaf, did you want to answer that, or would you like me to answer that, or any other of our panelists?
Yeah, I can answer that question. Actually, our plan was to install sign for this public meeting on the bridge, on the north and south bounds, but due to the meeting schedule and to get a permission from the San Felipe Pueblo, they asked us to send a request in order to install these signs. So it's something we'll not be able due to the 2 weeks period, for the to announce for that meeting. So we decided just to install this sign outside Pueblo boundaries. And as I know, we send different emails to San Felipe Pueblo, to Santa Ana, to the county, to inform them about this meeting, and same thing, I think, with the newspaper. And we asked the Pueblo to provide us, with any information about like a local radio station, local newspaper, so we can use it to announce for this public information. I think Ben or Noah, you was the one who sent that request, and I don't think they respond to you.
Correct. Ben, did you want to answer that at all?
Yeah, we reached out to each of those jurisdictions, agencies, and did not hear back.
Okay. What agency is funding the project?
I can address that. So NMDOT is the lead for the project, but we will be using a combination of state and federal funds to fund this project.
Okay. Again, we had a few more statements. I think, again, we've told you that you can send us an email about this if you'd like to be contacted one-on-one. The next question is, when will we know which plan will be used to replace the bridge, the complete shutdown of the bridge, or the one-lane access plans? Also, what is the start date for this project to start, and what is the finish date? This is concerning school busing.
And I can also help address this. So after this public meeting, we will take all of the comments that we receive regarding the project and any concerns from the public, and we will discuss that internally. We'll see if there are any critical flaws to wanting to shut down, or which option for the full closure or a partial construction with, however we can address that, maybe temporary signals, and then we will develop the plans from there. We'll have another public meeting to let everybody know. At this point in time, we do not have construction funding, so I cannot give you a project start date and finish. But what we would do is work that into the construction. I'm sorry, I didn't turn on my camera. We will work that into the construction scheduling, knowing about the school buses. The internal discussions have been that if we can do the full closure, it would be over summer, so as to avoid disrupting the school bus route. School would end, we could close the road if that is the alternative that we can go with, because it's about half the construction duration as the other alternative. Come in, demolish the existing bridge, build the new bridge, and get it reopened by the end of summer, before kids go back to school. There might still be some construction activities after that, but at least the bridge would be replaced at that point in time.
Great. Then there's a series of statements from some folks, and then it looks like there's a statement: we aren't on San Felipe land. Why not put it where 313 meets 312 when people come off the freeway? I think this is in regards to the posting. Does anybody want to speak to that? I know we did decide on the locations of the posting.
It was my understanding we did install, and I'm trying to look up in my email real quick, and I think Gwyneth, you might know this as well. We did put a sign within DOT right of way at 313 and the Algodones exit. We tried to put it where we could get a lot of the traffic that utilize 313, even for commuting purposes. Gwyneth, do you have anything to add to that? I know we were trying to figure out where to put those signs.
You may be muted, Gwyneth. She's lost her audio and
Yeah.
is commenting in the chat.
Okay, let's see. I think a lot of comments have to do with the signage. I think we've addressed this. I don't think we need to go over the signage again. It'd be helpful, Jill, is there a posting requirement for a bridge replacement project? Maybe that would help, a posting requirement for a meeting. Is there a requirement?
The requirement is for the advertising, and then we just try to do the public outreach with any like local, any like local newspapers or anything like that. I'm thinking of a project we did, a presentation we did recently for New Mexico 14. Again, it's advertising in the local newspaper, and other than that, it's just trying to reach out to, again, any local newspapers. We did put these signs up. I did find the email. I'm showing that we were going to we placed a banner on signs at the 315 exit, which is the Algodones exit. And we placed them sorry, I lost the other image. Along 313 and 550.
Great.
And again, this is, and as we have seen happen, whether it's been in these virtual times or during when we could have meetings in person, this is recorded. So share this information with this website with your neighbors. They'll be able to come on here and watch the recording. They'll be able to have the project information. They can call the phone number and ask the question or give their comments or, talk about their concerns. As shown on this screen right here, you can write in a comment, you can email your comments. So there is plenty of opportunity for anybody over the next month, if they have any questions about this project, to go ahead and reach out to us via this information on the screen. And definitely point noted. And I think the hard thing with the Algodones area, we advise Sandoval County of the project. Algodones is a unincorporated community, so it's not a standalone community that we would typically be able to reach out to, say, the mayor or somebody like that, to find out what alternative methods we could use to reach out to the members of the community to get everybody at this meeting tonight. But again, we'll have the YouTube link. We can email a copy of the slides. We have done that previously. We are really trying to and want to hear from the public, just so that we can make this a better project, help you understand the why behind the project, and address any questions, comments, or concerns that you may have.
Great, thank you. So I think there were some questions that were asked in the comments there. I'm not going to repeat questions that we've already answered. So one of the questions, will this be posted so I can link it to the Algodones Neighborhood Association website? I'm in 2 meetings at the moment. So yes, it will be posted. If you email me, I'll let you know exactly when we post it. And I'll provide that link so that we can give that to you and distribute that to your association and to whomever wants it. Will the new shoulders for bike bikes and walkers be paved on both sides?
I can answer that one. And it's just providing a wider shoulder width to allow for pedestrian or bicycle access across that. I saw a related question come in regarding if this would just be wider shoulders for within the project area or along 313 in general. And it's just within the project area here at the bridge. At this point in time, there are not plans to come in and reconstruct 313 along the entirety to provide wider shoulders as those project opportunities present itself in the future during reconstruction, not just a repaving or overlay that could be considered.
Great. I think we've talked about why the signs were posted where they were, so I won't rehash that. Is the 10-foot shoulder for all of Highway 313 or just the bridge project?
It's just gonna be for the bridge shoulder. So for the New Mexico 313, we're not gonna change anything. The only changes we're gonna have is on the bridge. We're gonna add 10-foot shoulders wide on each direction on the north and south bounds.
Okay. We've talked about what agency is funding this project. Is the project subject to the Corps of Engineers 404 permit? NM 313 is a state register cultural property. Will the FHWA conduct section 4F review?
This is Gwyneth. Can you all hear me all right?
Yes.
Great. Yes, this project will be subject to 404 permitting, and we're anticipating that the nationwide 14 permit will apply to this project. And then any historic properties that are eligible to the National Register will be evaluated, and that includes the 4F properties that will be assessed as per those 4F requirements.
Great. That sounds good. That kind of concludes those questions. It looks like a few more questions came in. Will there be an in-person meeting? I believe the answer is going to be no. Is that correct, Munaf or Jill?
Yes, we have. Yeah, go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
No, sorry. Yeah, at this time, there's still concern with the pandemic about large gatherings. So that is why we have this this virtual to the public, and then have the other alternatives to follow up with the public about this project. And so the next time, I don't know that there will be another, I guess I should say, I don't know when the next meeting would be, but there will be another project meeting at some point in time. If not before, it is definitely right before construction, there will be one. Given the amount of comments here, I think that it would behoove the project team to have, once the decision, especially about the closure or not, once that is made, that we come back to the public with that information, and then the contractors usually have to have a meeting before they start construction.
This question is, will the questions and answers and comments be made public? I think I can take a stab at this one. We will download them from the Zoom file, and we will provide them to the New Mexico Department of Transportation. And I believe that it is a government document, so it does become public record. So I do believe we can post it to the website if DOT warrants that. Is that a fair assessment, Munaf? Or Jill?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
the question and answers can be downloaded as an Excel spreadsheet. Will we be able to provide that spreadsheet on the notification website or the webpage, the landing page for this public meeting?
That might be a Gwyneth question. I can't remember on the other ones if we just post that or if we have that available to be requested through the Inspection of Public Records Act.
It's my understanding that this will be posted to the, well, the presentation will be posted to the YouTube. We have a website that I can coordinate with our, with Jennifer Mullins on that and make sure that these question and answers are available for public review.
Thank you, Gwyneth.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see. It looks like, how will the bridge's new height accommodate the private access on the west side of the bridge?
Okay, I can answer this question. So for the private access around the bridge, since we planning to raise the bridge by 1.25 foot, all the dirt roads around the bridge, we're gonna build or we're gonna add transitions to these dirt roads to accommodate the new height of the roadway.
Great. And then what is the plan if a full closure occurs for the emergency vehicles that would be responding?
Again, as I mentioned before, with the full closure for the emergency vehicles, they're gonna have a south access to the south of the bridge properties. They can use 550 and then New Mexico 313. For the properties to the north of the bridge, they can use I-25 exit at I think 248 to access to the properties to the north of the bridge.
Okay, great. It looks like that kind of takes care of all the question and answers that were typed. So if you have a question and you haven't heard it answered about this project, please raise your hand. I think Mr. Marvin, you've been very patient. I'm going to go ahead and allow you to speak. Just unmute yourself right now and you'll be able to ask your question.
Yeah, am I unmuted now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, let's see, the length of time for full closure and for partial closure is very, very vague, anything from 3 to 5 months and anything from 6 to God knows how long. So I think that's kind of, it seems to me that if you do a full closure, you'll get the project done faster and cheaper. And I don't know if there's any advantage to the partial closure. So that's my comment on that. I think it's a very important issue for everybody to think about, but 3 to 5 months full closure is, well, it's kind of vague. Anyways, now, there was a little confusion. I'm not sure if it's important or not, but the substructure was either rated, some people say it's rated as fair and some people rated as poor. And I guess it really doesn't make too much of a difference since the superstructure was rated as poor. Everybody is gang ho on rebuilding this thing, but the substructure for some weird reason was rated as fair. And I'm not sure if that really validates the need to rebuild this whole bridge completely. But I'll leave that up to Jill and Manouf. I'm not going to argue that one way or another. I contacted the people at Cultural Affairs, and there's some confusion as to the building date of the bridge. according to their records. They say that some of their records say that it was built in 28 and then it was redone in 70 and 75, repaved or something. And I didn't want to go through the cultural affairs system for validating this, that this bridge might be really an interesting antique for the state. So I gave up on that project. I'm wondering what a 404 permit is. And maybe you can answer that after I finish talking, boring you folks. I think the signage was totally inadequate, and I think that your version of trying to do the signage and the contacting people is just was inefficient, was trying, which means that you didn't really do it. You really didn't go through contacting the school, contacting the EMT, contacting the police, contacting the water department, contacting planning the getting real contact and making them come to this. Maybe the police or some of the fire and stuff like that came and the school came, but I tend to doubt it. So I'm wondering, I think you should not only try, but actually contact the people, because it's very hard for me. It was very hard for me to contact the police and the fire. They always give me the, they'll call me back stuff. So I think you should make more of an effort to get the community involved, and not only to try, but to make sure that you contact the emergency people. And then there's further information, because there might be other people. Everybody has relatives all over the place, and they might have some concerns. So I think there's a website called Nextdoor, which you can post information on. And somebody from the neighborhood association just talked, and I'm sure the water system is here. So let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to? Oh, and the access problem has, there's going to be access and no gates. So that should satisfy everybody. So I think that's it. I wish the outreach was a lot better, and there was not that verb trying to do it, but actually doing it, speaking to the people, which is a lot harder. And so I'm finished.
Thank you for your comments, Marvin. If I can touch on a couple of what you did make. So in regards to addressing any concerns with police and EMS, we have quarterly meetings with Sandoval County, and then we have quarterly meetings, I believe it's quarterly anyway, standalone meetings with law enforcement as well. So we bring up these projects to them specifically. And I think I had read a comment too about the conversations with the Pueblo, and I have bi-monthly outreach with them, meetings with them. So we talk about anything from, overlapping projects to permitting needs and everything like that. So that's during those, we also bring up these types of meetings. So it wasn't like prioritizing one or over the other. It's just being able to have that contact. And while NMDOT is on various social media outlets, it's more for a sharing information, but we don't have a way that we're on Nextdoor to get to all of these individual community areas through the Nextdoor application. Sometimes if we're lucky, we have somebody from either the project team or NMDOT that might live in the area. For instance, we had that project I was speaking earlier about, New Mexico 14. So I know Commissioner Piscotti for Bernalillo County, she posted on there. I shared on there just because of where I live to help with that community outreach. I am hearing a lot of the frustration about the amount of outreach. And so for that, we did try, we followed the usual outlets. I believe it was advertised in the Albuquerque Journal. So we met the 3 week, I believe it's 3 weeks worth of advertisement, asking for any accommodation that anybody might need in regards to translation or anything else. So, we'll definitely note that if in the future, if we have a follow-up, try to do better with placing project signs in a way that doesn't block sight distance. I know that was also one of the concerns we had, where to put them along 313 and to place it along 313 in such a way that we stayed within state right of way, that it didn't become a safety issue, because we have what's called a clear zone to protect. So when you see our speed limit signs, they're on breakaway posts, because there are requirements of that within the like I said, within the state right of way for a clear zone. So we will definitely take that into consideration and see what we can do better in the future to get more people involved at this level of the public meeting. But again, share the information. The project team is willing to answer the questions. My name and number is not even on this screen right here, but Mr. Marvin that was just speaking, he was able to get my information, and we had a conversation a couple times this week about the project. So that's why with this, we have the ability to not just get on through the internet. You can call, you could have called into this to just listen into the meeting. And then you can get in contact with the project team, and we can share this information in a way that is accessible to everybody.
Thank you. Looks like we have another speaker. Mr. Baca, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to allow you to speak. We have seen your comments, so I'd like to acknowledge that. We will get back to you through an email. So, and we do have a hard stop at 7 p.m. today. So I just want to remind everybody about that. So let's go. I'm going to go ahead and let you speak, Mr. Baca. And you can unmute yourself.
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, one of the major thing that you have neglected to look at is that there's two roads going west of 313 on the north side and the south side of that bridge. It goes to San Felipe property, but it ends up on private property, and those are accesses. One is a public access, the other one is a private easement, and you're totally ignoring that fact. Also, going back to the president, letting people know where this meeting is going to be at. I didn't find out about it except through my daughter, who happened to see the sign. And there's a lot of us in Algodones that aren't computer active. She brought me over here, so I'm talking to a machine right now, which I don't like. I rather talk to people. Anyway, you should have a public meeting rather than this kind of shit.
With a Spanish speaker.
With a translator, anyway. There's a lot of people in Algodones that rather listen to things in Spanish rather than English.
And a deaf sign interpreter.
And maybe a deaf sign interpreter, because it's supposed to be a public meeting. Anyway, I just want to get to the point that I also talked to the engineers. I guess some people were out there about 2 years ago or a year ago, and I asked them what was going on. They told me about this project, and they said I would be advised. I was never advised, and I'm a stakeholder, and I was never advised. So what do you have to say?
Thank you, Mr. Baca.
What?
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
I'm gonna be calling. I'm gonna go talk to the district engineer, because I need to pinpoint what my real concerns are and find out what you guys are going to do about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Baca. Okay, does anybody else have any comments or questions that they'd like to bring up if it has not been brought up?
I think I just want to reiterate again that the plan is not to close off any access to anyone in the final condition of the bridge. I don't know, it seems like there's some miscommunication there. Manoff, do you want to bring back up do you have any pictures or something? Because I just want to reiterate that.
Okay, yeah, it looks like there's some miscommunication. So again, the dirt roads or the access to the south and to the east, I'm sorry, to the north and to the south, east and west of the bridge, those 4 access is gonna stay open.
Lost your audio there, Manil.
That in our design, but again, all these there. The only things is we have access to the northwest of the bridge, which serve 2 private property. That access, we're gonna keep it open during the construction. The access to the southwest of the bridge, that one probably gonna be closed during the construction. And the private properties to the southwest of that bridge, they're gonna have 2 different access to get to their property during the construction period.
Great. Thank you. Okay, I don't see any more questions that haven't been answered already.
So no, I would like to add something else. So again, we are just on the 30% of this design process for this project. So we are still working on the conceptual design. The main reason for today's meeting is to hear from you, to get your concerns and to answer your questions. And we're gonna have the 30 days period comments after this meeting. It's gonna be until, I believe, July 29th to receive all your comments, questions, inputs. And we're gonna discuss it, and most of them is gonna be considered to, in order to move forward with the design. So again, everything it's gonna be discussed with the design team in order to make a final decisions. And we, everyone is welcome to provide us with any questions, with any comments, and we would happy to hear from you.
Great.
A couple other questions. I think we have it. So I saw a question regarding the 313 and the state register of cultural property. So our environmental section does a robust outreach with SHPO. So that is going to be addressed. And then I saw the concern about when I-25 has an incident and how 313 is impacted. So again, regardless of whether 313 becomes a full closure for part of the construction, or we go with an alternative method, that will be signed appropriately at the exit to deter that type of bypass. It was actually similar to what was going on during the injections that we did on I-25. I know we had people trying to bypass by going on the west side, or I'm sorry, on the east side of I-25 to the road that doesn't connect anywhere. So we did put additional signing out. So we would do something similar in that regard if there would be an incident on I-25 during the life of this construction project.
Great. I see it's about 1 minute till 7. Did Rudolph or Gwyneth, did you want to go over 7, or did you feel that the rest of that were pretty set?
I do see one attendee with their hand raised.
Okay. Oh yeah, Mr. Baca, let's go ahead and allow you to speak. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Mary Catherine Baca. I'm Alfred Baca's daughter, and I did help him to connect here today. I had a question about the gates that you mentioned. You said that there's a plan for 3 gates, and the purpose of the gates is to help San Felipe Pueblo block the, you said illegal activity that's going on down this way. I just want to ask how you came about in determining that that purpose was appropriate and why you think gates are appropriate.
It's a public access.
So again, it has been requested from the people of San Felipe. They mentioned to us they having a daily issue with the illegal activities, illegal dumping, trespassing through these dirt roads. So they asked us if we could install access gate on these dirt in order to prevent or reduce these illegal activities. And again, that's the reason for this meeting is just to discuss with you guys, about like what is proposed in this project and get your input and feedbacks. So if you think that's not going to be like helpful with this project, we'll discuss that with the Pueblo and we'll bring your concerns to them.
Well, and to support what you're saying, Moon Offer, I guess to add to what you're saying. So we will research this. We're just sharing at this point in time where we are at in the design and consideration of this project. So receiving these concerns, we will look into it further as to the property ownership back those roads. And if we see that there is an access that is for San Felipe only, then that is something that we can do to honor their request. But if we see that there is, multi use either for the Pueblo and private and, other people or multi-jurisdictional, say, access for, in other cases like MRGCD, then that is something that we continue and that we can address as design it develops and we get further into this process. So that will be considered. It's not a blanket that this is going to come in, and what we will do if we find something contrary to the information that we have received so far about adjacent property ownership.
Great. Looks like Mr. Baca has another question. Let me go ahead and allow you to speak. You can just unmute yourself.
Hi, yes, this is Mary Catherine again. The question is, why would you just take San Felipe's word for it, I guess? And second of all, since you've already made these plans based on what you just claimed is unverified information, so you said you got this information from San Felipe, they made a request. And so you just went forward and made this plan to put the gates up and lock people out. And now you're saying that you're gonna go through and make your own legal determination about the property ownership of these accesses on these roads. So by talking to the Pueblo and not even talking to these landowners who have owned this property's been private for hundreds of years, before the United States was even a country. Okay, so I want to know, why haven't you spoken to the family who lives and has property down that road, and why have you only spoken to the Pueblo and taken their word for it?
So we met with the Pueblo in the beginning of this project, and we heard from them and we got their concerns about the projects, and there is no like a final decision has been made. We're waiting for your input during this meeting. That's going to help us to make a better decision about what is needed, to be added to this project. So again, we have just a conceptual design. Nothing has been decided yet, and everything will be evaluated and will be discussed with the design team before we move forward with this project.
Okay, it looks like again that the Baca family would like to speak again. I guess is this going to be a question? You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
When they're going to meet with us?
When are you going to meet with the Baca family?
We will work on that and we will let you know.
You need to
Probably-
get our mailing address at least.
Do you have our any information from us? How will you contact us?
So why don't you, here, I'll go ahead and say this. So why don't you see the information on the screen that says how to get a hold of me? Why don't you email me your address and information and I'll forward it off to
Thank you.
Munaf.
I'll do that. And you didn't, just to say, because I know we're running out of time, you didn't address my question of why didn't anyone contact us before making these plans and making these statements? Why didn't you contact any private landowners? Why did you fail to see the private land that's back there?
I gave him my name and number.
Okay, thank you. I'll let our panelists answer that.
Yes, again, there is no decision made yet. We're still working on different options, different alternatives on these projects. And one of the reasons, as I mentioned before, for this meeting is to hear from you guys and get your concerns. And again, we'll give you a chance, to get your question and comments and probably meet with you so we can sit down together and discuss all the issues, all your concerns. After that, after we're done, we will bring all these results and evaluate it. And based on the result of the evaluations, we'll make a decisions about what is needed to be done on this project.
Okay, so I think we've kind of hit our time limit here. Gwyneth, do you think we're good to go ahead and end this meeting for now?
Yes, I think that Marvin had asked about 404 permitting, and he wasn't quite sure what that was. So if, just to briefly state that a 404 permitting is required under the Clean Water Act, and the waters to be, or the drainages have to be considered waters of the US, and they fall under that Clean Water Act. And that 404 permitting is what we will permit the bridge under on a nationwide 14 404 permit. And that is a blanket permit that has been issued by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Great. Thanks, Glenda. All right. Well, the contact information is here. Please email me email is preferable, and because we can go ahead and get that over to the New Mexico Department of Transportation and get your questions, concerns answered or provide information to you. But you do have the option to call, and either I'll pick up or you can leave a message and I'll get back to you. And then also here's the mailing address. Please make sure that you write this all down. Again, we will be posting this video in the next few days, and we will be also adding the question and answers to the website. So and the comments. So thank you everybody very much for your attendance tonight and your patience, and we look forward to hearing from you. So have a great night and a happy 4th of July weekend. Thank you.